Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mystery Read Reads. This is my disclaimer. This beta read in concrete is at the author's request. This video is for learning purposes. Today we're doing a beta read in concrete of a piece of an original fiction. We are working today on chapter 4 of Infinite Shades for Crystal Committee. Before I jump in, I know that I had made some notes in my last video about some things I was going to research, and Crystal Committee has actually been helping me research some of the things that come up. And what I've decided is I'm going to make separate little mini videos for each of those subjects so that we could quickly, if we wanted to refer to them later, we could just click on those little videos and have those notes pop up. And I don't know how long or short they'll be. I don't know if I'll do them more like exploratory where we go through and look for the answer to the question, or if I'll just look for it myself and then make maybe a little bullet point thing for us to refer to. So we'll have those as quick reference videos. And I'm going to now turn in here to Infinite Shades and get started on chapter 4's beta read. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to dive in here, and I know kind of where we left off. Sam is in bad shape. We were getting to know Garrett a little bit better, and I'm still rooting for Sam to recover. I don't know what's going to happen. It was sounding like she was worse off in chapter 3. We weren't actually with her there, but Garrett disclosed that she was in bad shape. So let's get into this and find out. If you are not familiar with my beta read in concrete of chapters 1, 2, and 3 of Infinite Shades, you can go see those. I'll share links to them in the description. And if you would like to read Infinite Shades by Crystal Committee, you can read it on the archive where we are viewing it, and I'll share a link to that as well. Okay, I am not a girl who asks people to like and subscribe. I'm not going to do that. I may eventually pop up something, but I really don't want to do that, but I kind of need you all to do that, so that is all I'm going to say about that. Okay, here we go. Our summary. Sam's awake, but something's not right. Ooh, we might be back with Sam. So excited. And she's awake. Oh, I wonder if we're going to see anything like if she really does have any kind of, did he say she had brain damage? I'm trying to remember if he said I kind of want to look back. Okay, we're going to go forth and find out what we find out. Okay, notes. This is the last chapter summarizing the avalanche and what happened. There's a lot more to tell and a lot happens, but we're going to be jumping forward into current times with chapter 5. Oh my goodness. Okay, I guess we're going to see in chapter 4 if a lot of the questions we started out with and that still don't have answers might get wrapped up in here. I kind of wish that I'd been keeping notes of all those questions as we went so I could tell my author for sure that they checked off all the boxes. But we'll see what questions pop up. Oh, I kind of wish I had done that. Maybe in the future I should start doing that, like jotting down questions that come up in case someone asks me to read the next chapter. I can look and see if they've tied up and answered those questions. Although after working with Crystal Committee for 4 chapters now and talking to her privately, I have a feeling she's probably got a map, like a road map to this, and so she probably knows full well that she's answered these questions. So let's just keep going. Chapter 4. Sam is in a private room with no visibility to the outside hallway. Garrett sits beside the bed. He has grown a full beard and no longer wears his suit and tie. Instead, he has exchanged it for a tattered t-shirt and a pair of faded jeans. Okay, I'm pausing already because he's sporting a full-grown beard at this point. That means he's probably been sitting by Sam's side for a while. I'm guessing that's the impression we're supposed to get. That's the impression I got. Wow, I'm starting to wonder how long she's been out. So we're going to keep going. Reading aloud from a thick book, he turns the last page, shrugging in disappointment before closing it. He piles it on top of the others on the floor. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, staying focused. Nothing in the room is moving except for the steady rise and fall of Sam's chest in unison with Garrett's. His face somber and filled with concentrated sadness and despair. The hands on the clock lack motion. The monitors do not beep. And the shadows on the walls remain static. I'm distracted. I'm going to stop and let my thoughts out as I go. I was trying to read the whole paragraph, but my brain is like popping up with stuff, and I'm just going to go ahead and pause at the sentence if I really have something that's, because it distracts me when I keep reading and I had a thought. Nothing in the room is moving except for the steady rise and fall of Sam's chest, in unison with Garrett's, his face somber and filled with concentrated sadness and despair. I want to marinate on this for just a second. I get the stillness. I can feel the heaviness. This is a great build with, I've got a visual. I'm feeling the sadness. I'm feeling it. This is fantastic. Okay. But I'm trying to think, his face somber. I've got that expression. Okay. And filled with concentrated sadness and despair. I'm wondering about the word concentrated. I'm kind of wondering if we just tossed it all together. Okay, because when I read it, I'm thinking intense focus when I see the word concentrated or compression, tightness. And then I read sadness and despair. And Garrett's feeling those things, and I'm getting the sensation from the picture that's being painted for me, which is wonderful. I've totally got the worry. I've got just by the picture. It's really interesting how when we set a scene and we paint the picture with descriptors like a full beard, and it's a private room, so that I can see it in my mind's eye, like it's. I kind of get it dark because hospitals are kind of got that weird lighting. Or even I don't think she might not be in a hospital, even in a facility, a private room. I'm just kind of getting like a fluorescent light kind of feel. It's quiet. It's just her and Garrett. I'm seeing a hospital bed in my mind's eye. He's not looking real great. Faded jeans and a t-shirt. This dude was polished. Okay. So a full beard, a stack of books. Okay, a stack of books on the floor. He's committed. Okay, he's coming to see her every day. He's worried about her, and I'm getting the feel of it. I've got the impression. I've got the visual. Good job. Good job. Nothing in the room is moving except for the steady rise and fall of Sam's chest in unison with Garrett's. Oh, I'm feeling a connection between them. That's fantastic. He's somber. I've got it. The mood is built. And then I come to the word concentrated, and I'm feeling like Garrett's not sitting in this chair concentrating on being sad and feeling despair. But he's feeling those things. And you've painted it, and I just think we could chuck the word concentrated out because it made my brain immediately think of Garrett's intently being determined to be sad and in despair. And I don't think that's what we meant. So I'm just going to say, I think I'd chuck the concentrated. I think that what you wanted was for it to be intense, like gripping, to feel the gripping, like how much he's feeling this, how deeply he's feeling this. But I'm going to tell you, you don't actually need a word to imply that because your build and your visual have done it for you, which is excellent. So I would just toss that word and we'll keep right on rolling. Let's do this. Nothing in the room is moving except for the steady rise and fall of Sam's chest in unison with Garrett's, his face somber and filled with sadness and despair. The hands on the clock lack motion. The monitors do not beep, and the shadows on the walls remain static. Sam's upper body held into place with a halo. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. I got interrupted. I had to stop for a second. Let's see. Nothing in the room is moving except for the steady rise and fall of Sam's chest in unison with Garrett's, his face somber and filled with sadness and despair. The hands on the clock lack motion, the monitors do not beep, and the shadows on the walls remain static. Sam's upper body held into place with a halo. Oh, this is really good. Okay, I mean, it's really bad for Sam. I'm very worried. A halo is like one of the things that I would never want, ever. Oh, such a bad. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel it. It's bad. Okay, let's see. The hands on the clock lack motion. I can already see the little hands ticking ever so slow, like time is just sluggish. The monitors are not beeping. I got it. Great job. Great job. Great job. As Sam makes a noise beginning to come into wakefulness, Garrett lets a smile cross his face. The monitors begin to beep slowly at first. The second hand on the clock ticks forward, building speed until it regains its rightful movement. Oh, nice. So it's kind of like, I want to think like like an unwinding. So like maybe it's been, yeah, I kind of see it like slowly. Everything is starting to play again. Like everything's been paused. Nice. Okay, I've got some asthma today, so bear with me. Um, I'm trying to get a breath. Sam, Garrett whispers, his voice catching in his throat. Yeah, it's Uncle Garrett. Take it slow. You were hurt pretty bad and have been through a lot since. I know. She cuts him off as her eyes flutter open and a smile graces her lips. You're not my real uncle. Just, Garrett laughs. I want to be. I'm aware. I wanted to be here when you woke up, let you know everything was okay. I'm pausing for a second because I'm like, do we know the rule for, let's see, she cuts him off and it's lowercase, and I'm wondering, I feel like it is lowercase when we have the comma because it's a continuation. That's what I think. So I kind of agree with that. And maybe we'll just make a whole series of little videos on rules, but I'm not going to write this one down right now because I kind of feel like it's correct too. So we're going to let it go. See, Garrett laughs and okay. He's here to reassure her. Okay, she responds. Sam lets her eyes snap back and forth, scanning her surroundings, instantly noticing the shift of scenery. You had me moved? Private room, less going on, fewer eyes. Something your insurance could cover with a major booster. So don't worry, you're safe. And had them drug me? Powerful stuff, too. Why? Her worried tone rises. So there we have lowercase, and I wonder if that one's supposed to be capital because there's a question. I am uncertain. I am just not sure. I guess I'm going to make a note on punctuation and maybe I'll make little reference videos for it. I don't know. Let's see what's our examples. We have parentheses, well, quotations and a comma quotation and a like a question mark or a period would be another one, or an exclamation point. Any other kind of punctuation is the next word. Capital, I think, or lowercase. I feel like the first one was a continuation and that one was correct, and this one I'm not sure. But we're just going to note it for now, and I'm going to keep going. And had them drug me. Powerful stuff, too. Why? Her worried tone rises. It's just the anesthesia from hopefully the last surgery wearing off, Garrett explains, pushing up and moving in closer. Last? How many? She asks. I stopped counting after a dozen or so. Oh, good grief. Oh, Sam. Wow. Guess I checked out for a few. How long have I, been out? This last one, a few days. Kind of got lost in time myself, Garrett says with a smile. I'm gonna make a slight little bitty suggestion to tuck a tiny little 3-letter word in there. A wan, smile, W-A-N. I kind of see this as like a, or even like a, I kind of see it like a sad, kind of melancholy or empathetic smile. Um, Bleak. So I kind of want to tuck a descriptor in there. That's my suggestion. But we're going to keep going. Doesn't seem like that long, Sam mumbles. Comas. Are coma and comma spelled the same way? I think they are. Comma. No, comma would be C-O-M-M-A. Yes. What is going on with my brain today? Let's see. Yes. Comma is the punctuation mark. Comma Get me straight. All right, coma. We are correct. Good Lord. All right, comas, from what I understand, will do that to you, Garrett jokes. Had me scared there for a while. Sorry, it wasn't intentional. Swallowing hard, she continues. Didn't work, did it? It shows in your expression. Do I look as bad as I feel? Be honest, she begs. Um, would Sam beg? Would Sam beg? I don't, I mean, I guess she's your character, so you get to decide that, but I mean, I guess maybe she would. She's not like a proud person, she's a sassy person. So maybe I don't want her to beg, but maybe she's feeling it, you know? We all can be there. Okay, I'm contemplating her in a deep way, so we're going to keep going. I'd prefer not to, Garrett declines. Ooh, goodness. That's why you have to. I'd rather know. Your comments when you called me. True, you're a mess. Break Evil Knievel's records for the most number of broken bones? By my count, I've got to be close. Sam. Garrett questions as if scolding a child who isn't telling the truth. I want to know. Separate bones, multiple fractures, so yes and no. And if it were a record-breaking achievement, no one is going to share. No matter how hard you press, I'll destroy the x-rays and any evidence. Just curious, achievements and all. Take a breath, would ya? Sam says, a smile forming on her lips. Nice, disguise. She looks him up and down. Could do without the smell, though. Her nose wrinkles. Sorry, it's been a few days and I've had an opportunity to take a shower. I think we want haven't between the I've and the had. And the reason would be, her eyes roll around as if floating. Oh, shit. She subtly lets out under her breath as if something else is going on with her outside of her physical body. I just cussed and I'm not sure I'm supposed to do that. Let's see. She subtly lets out under her breath as if something else is going on with her outside of her physical body. Oh. Okay. Okay, so I'm wondering what it is. But I'm kind of where did I just lose my daggone spot? Let's see. I like her crack on him here with the smell. And let's see, it's been a few days, hadn't had an opportunity to take a shower, and the reason would be her eyes roll around as if floating, and then she's cursing because something else is going on. Okay, I was separating, my brain is thinking about two different things at once. I'm thinking about which character's point of view am I in? I need an internalization, and then I'm wondering what's happening to, like, if something's going on with her body, like, and I guess I'm confused by this sentence. So I'm gonna let it go and keep going. All right. It's difficult getting in and out of here without eyes on me, so I do it as little as possible. That bad, huh? Why do you assume because you're here, have been since it happened? Not normal Garrett behavior, uncle or not. Really not normal to be here so long and take such a risk. Where's Julian? Running an errand, he says, reaching up and squeezing her hand. I didn't know the two of you actually knew each other. He pulls back slowly, hoping she didn't see it. Hang on. Okay. I'm wondering about tense really quick. I guess we're kind of active here. So why did I suddenly feel like I was back past tense, and then why did I think that? He says, reaching up and squeezing her hand. I didn't know the two of you actually knew each other. He pulls back slowly, hoping she didn't see it. First, he actually squeezed her hand. So what is it that he's hoping she didn't see? And then I don't know why I suddenly started wondering what tense we were in and if we had switched. Why did I do that? These all seem active. I guess my brain was like, does this need to be he pulled back slowly? But at the same time, if we've been using Active verbs. Okay, and now I'm thinking, okay, never mind. I'm going to let the tense thing go for right now because it seems like what I'm seeing when I look back is consistent. Okay, we're going to keep going for now. Can't feel it, but it's the thought behind it that counts, right? She covers with humor. Can't, okay. So she can't feel it. Okay, I'm confused. Running an errand, he says, Kat, reaching up and squeezing her hand. I didn't know the two of you actually knew each other. And he's hoping she didn't see him squeeze her hand, but she would have felt that. And now she's saying she can't feel it. But it's the thought behind it that counts, right? She covers with humor. But then he's also making a comment about not realizing that the two of them knew each other, and she's not responding to that. I'm guessing she's ignoring that. Oh, okay. Yes, you were pretty hard on on Marcus. Garrett redirects the conversation. Redirects it from what? Redirects it from what? She didn't. Okay. I didn't know the two of you actually knew each other. He pulled back slowly, hoping she didn't see it. Can't feel it, but it's the thought behind it that counts. So she couldn't feel. Yes, you were pretty hard on Agent Marcus. So he's still talking about Julian, but he's letting it go away from insisting she answered this question. I'm guessing. I'm not sure. I think. All right. Not an agent anymore, Sam asks. Wait. Oh, he just called him an agent, though. Is he hesitant? Is Garrett hesitant? Did he give some clue indicating that Marcus was no longer an agent? Or is Garrett not an agent? I'm so confused. Okay. I can't feel it, but it's the thought behind it that counts. And we're thinking that's about the hand. Yes, you were pretty hard on. Okay, wait. So he didn't want her to see him reach for her hand because he knew that she couldn't feel it. Okay, here's the thing. All of that would have been very, very clear to me if we had internalization. Because the conversation is not about Garrett's a okay. I gather Garrett is avoiding telling her just how badly she's messed up. And so that's what I'm getting out of the conversation. And then he's trying to change the subject by saying that he didn't realize the two of them actually knew each other. If I had some internalization from them along the way, I'm assuming we're in Garrett's point of view because we started out with Garrett opening the scene. And if we had some internalization of his thoughts and his feelings, I might be more grounded in this conversation because I'm gathering and piecing it together myself what is happening. So it seems to me Garrett's trying to avoid telling her how badly she's hurt. He reached for her hand wanting to comfort her, okay? And then he remembers that she can't feel it. But I don't know that he remembered that because he didn't internalize that. Like he could have inside right here, he could say inside of his head, what am I doing, moron? Or, she can't feel that. Why am I, something internally his thought, and then he pulls back his hand, hoping she doesn't see it. But Sam, who's even completely held up, seems to see everything, tells him she can't feel it, but it's the thought that counts. And then I guess because I was trying to piece that together, I got lost because now Garrett's changing the subject away from, because he's avoiding still how badly she's hurt. And so now he's agreeing to change the subject to Marcus. Okay, and she called him Julian. So, I want to know if I am not sure if I should make the suggestion to use the same name, because one is his first name and one is his last name. I remember that because I remember it standing out to me when he was first introduced. And then right now I guess because I'm following this conversation and reading, piecing together what's going on here. Um, I'm wondering if it again at this point, until we've got back to reminding our reader that he's Julian Marcus. Of course, if I was reading the book, I would have been probably reading continuously, and so I'd probably still remember that at this point. I need to give myself a break there because I am working on multiple projects and then come back, and so I have to remember everything that I've already read while also reading other people's pieces. So I am uncertain if I should make the recommendation of being consistent in the name Julian or Marcus and Marcus, until the in case the reader doesn't remember that this is the same character that you're referring to. So I'm not sure, but I want you to understand why I'm not sure if I should make that recommendation or not. I'm going to leave it to you to make that decision, obviously, based on your impression of my jabber here. Okay, yes, you were pretty hard on Agent on Marcus. Garrett redirects the conversation. And I guess he is redirecting it. He's changing course away from the subject again, the elephant in the room. So, not an agent anymore, Sam asks. A lot has happened. Nothing you should concern yourself over. If you feel the need, let it be through him. For now, can you work with an old flame that cares a great deal about you? Yeah, I guess, Sam relinquishes. Not so far from the truth, though in my defense I wasn't in the mood to be played with. She takes a breath and lets it out slowly, as if nauseous. Probably a good thing I can't feel my stomach. I think it would want to vomit right now. But then again, I really can't, this sucks. Swallowing hard, she briefly closes her eyes to force focus. I'll probably just leave focus, just because both words start with the same sound. I can't explain why exactly. I'm going to just say that it could be a distraction. It probably isn't. It's probably very, I don't want to say I'm being petty. I'm just going to say that force focus distracted me a bit, and that could be my neurodivergent brain. So give me a little room there. Let's see. But then again, I really can't. This sucks. Swallowing hard, she briefly closes her eyes to force focus. Also, I don't know if she's. Do we? I guess I'm trying to think if that action is. I guess it could be. I mean, she doesn't have a lot to work with right now, so there's that too. Okay, let's just keep going. You promised you'd stay out of my personal life. Ooh, I did. Got that. But in my way, quite the coincidence, though, wasn't it? Don't think I've ever had one of those happen with you around before. She blinks rapidly, then as if coming back from a daze. Nope. What's going on in there, Sam? Too much. I may be making an assumption here, but you don't assume anything, Sam interjects. You want to know why I called you? Why? She falls into silence, her eyes close, and she takes in a few shallow breaths. She whispers, You already know. I think I do, but I hope that it was for something else. You are the closest thing to family I have outside of Dad, but she chokes down the emotion building inside her. I needed to know if you set this up. By this, you are asking Dad and me being the ones finding the plane, her and me. No, Sam, I wouldn't, he trails off. Not some secret mission to capture a trust operative. No. Did Dad know him? Did Dad know? I don't, Sam, I'm sorry, but we haven't found him, and after so much time, but we're not giving up. I kind of want to butt there. I kind of want to tuck a butt there. I kind of read it that way. Almost like he wants to reassure her. You could probably even put in like a facial expression where, like, you know, it's gloomy and sad here, and then like over here he's like, you know, maybe puts a palm up and is like kind of waves it a little bit to reassure her, you know, but we're not giving up. maybe. That's kind of the visual I've got in my head. So I'm just going to describe that to you. Sam's eyes close, then reopen again. There's a shift in her gaze, more controlled and purposeful, her tone losing any emotional vibrato. You won't. He was dead before the avalanche. He's now beyond with the others. I've accepted. So should you, and move on. Ooh, that's... Wow. Wow. Okay. That's huge. I mean, honestly, for someone to... That's her dad, and they were obviously close. All right. I got to marinate on this paragraph for just a second. Sam's eyes closed, then reopen again. There's a shift in her gaze, more controlled and purposeful, her tone losing in emotional vibrato. There's just like a change come over her. I kind of want to put something, and you are very, very good at this. I kind of want to put something like right in there, like a separate sentence, Sam's eyes closed, period. And then I kind of want to put something to even, it could even just say there's something nice that implies a long pause. I feel like because this is a big shift when she's putting her dad behind her, okay? And that feels huge to me as the reader. That feels huge. I'm trying to think for Sam that is a huge thing. And so I kind of want her to pause, which she does, but I want to punctuate that a little bit, like probably right there. And before her eyes reopen again, I kind of want to imply that there's a moment of like silence or collection or something, because she is collecting herself, but just something that implies a long pause there. I don't feel like she's just gonna, and you didn't say it that way. I think that the visual I got is the one you wanted. So it worked the way you read it, because I absolutely paused and was like, wow. But I read it kind of fast, and I kind of want to give it, I think I want to give the moment an emotional punch. And I feel like by putting that pause, kind of the way you did in the very beginning when you were building that long, you showed how long Garrett had been sitting with her. So I feel like when Sam takes this moment to make this change in her mindset, to compartmentalize, that I want the reader to know it took a moment. And it doesn't have to be a long, like, it's not like 5 minutes. She did it for like a minute, but I feel like that shift, we need to feel that shift. And I don't want it to feel rushed, if that makes sense. I want it to have that finesse, because that's a big deal. And maybe I'm putting too much emphasis on it, but it is her dad. They were close. You could feel that when they worked together in chapter 1, you could really feel that synchronicity between them, that unspoken, intuitive bond that they had. And then here, she's putting him behind her, at least for this moment, to do what she needs to do. And you've got the shift down there. I just want to punctuate or put emphasis or something to really let that reader have a feel. I want them to have a feeling. I do, because I'm attached to Sam already. But that's a suggestion. It is perfectly fine the way you have read it. I still had a feel. I just wanted to make that tidbit suggestion of something, and you don't have to do it. It's just that I feel like it might give it that extra that where you get that kind of gut. It's almost a gut punch, really. It's a little bitty gut punch to where, oh, she's letting go of her dad. Of course, that's me. I'm an emotional writer. That's my thing. That's what I'm really good at. So from an emotional aspect, when you're doing something, which she has done here, she's collected herself and let something go that's very, very important to her. And I kind of want to put a punch to the gut in there. That sounds cruel, but that's when it's an important movement, that's an opportunity. And you want your reader to feel that roller coaster ride. Anyway, here we go. The gunshots you mentioned, the others, what can you tell me about them? Garrett asks, seeing and hearing the change. I cannot speak of them. I did not see nor come into contact with them. There were 2, with him. I found her, and she confirmed the pilots were dead. Okay, I'm going to pause here. I kind of want to say her name because this is the first time you're mentioning her in this chapter. And obviously, a reader who's been turning the pages is now familiar with the characters you've talked about. But because it's the first time you're mentioning her and mentioning Amanda in the chapter, I kind of want her to say her name here. Also, so that we're not being vague, and so there's no room for error or misconstruing anything. The same way with that I recommended with Marcus and with the use of the name Marcus and Julian, at least for the first time in the chapter, to be consistent, and then to name her, to call her by name here. Let's pretend I'm just going to read it that way, and we're going to keep going. And this is just my suggestion. I cannot speak of them. I did not see nor come into contact with them. There were two with him. I found Amanda, and she confirmed the pilots were dead. Garrett nods. You identified the contagion early, knew exactly what it was and how it would be present. Can you tell me how you knew that? The contagion. Okay, the contagion. Wait. Oh, I have to. This is going to be. See, you make me think so hard every time I read this, and it's not your writing. It's the story, which is so interesting. Okay, so now we're going to start tying stuff back, I'm gathering. Garrett nods. You identified the contagion early, knew exactly what it was and how it would present. Can you tell me how you knew that? So my mind is immediately going back to when Sam was in the hospital and telling them to shut down the unit, but she was saying it was herself. And then I thought she might have been speaking in code to get a message to Garrett, because she does have the doctor that checks her in call Garrett, and she talks to him over the phone. And so I thought that she did send a message to Garrett, kind of encoded. But at the same time, I remember very distinctly Sam describing symptoms, and I remember her crying, so it seemed personal. You identified the contagion early, knew exactly what it was and how it would present, but that made me think the contagion was inside of Sam. So now I'm a little bit confused and intrigued, unless I'm thinking about the wrong thing entirely. Okay, can you tell me how you knew that? The one I found, she told me that it was important to remember. I have an eidetic memory. Okay, wait. Okay, why is she telling Garrett she has an eidetic memory? I feel like Garrett knows that. The one I found. Wait, is she saying Amanda was the contagion? What? Wait, is that what she's saying? Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, we gotta at least use her name by here. We don't want to be vague, because now we're letting something go. The one I found. If he's talking about a contagion and she's saying she found it, is she saying that Amanda? Oh my gosh, kind of wish you were on like this call with me, or on the I kind of oh my goodness. Okay. Wouldn't that be interesting? You'd be like trying to be quiet, and I'm squealing and asking all these questions, and you're trying not to answer them because you want this impression. Oh my goodness. Okay. I could be completely wrong. We're going to keep going. I have an eidetic memory. Okay, but I am wondering why she's saying that, because Garrett knows that. Unless it's to remind the reader. And what I would do there instead is maybe have Garrett internalize that, because he knows that. I'm sure he knows that. Okay. Did you tell her about your memory? Garrett leads. Yes. What else did she tell you? Garrett asks. Wait. You're asking what else did she tell you? But you didn't say that she told her anything. Oh, wait. She told me it was important to remember. Wait, important to remember what? Oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? You identified the contagion early, knew exactly what it was and how it would present. Can you tell me how you knew that? The one I found, she told me that it was important to remember. Okay, so my reader impression was that the contagion she found was actually Amanda, but she told me that it was important to remember. And then I was distracted because she was telling Garrett, but I know that Garrett already knows that. Okay, so now I'm thinking I remember Amanda having the black card with the code on it, and then she had Sam look at it and memorize it, and then she cut it up and destroyed it. So if it's the card and not Amanda that is the card carrying a contagion code, and or is Amanda the contagion? So I'm confused as a reader which of the two of those, and I am wondering. Okay, Amanda gave her the card though, so really Sam didn't find the card. Okay. I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to just say my questions and maybe I'll get the answers and it'll all make sense, or maybe from these questions my author will know what she needs to do. Yes. We're going to go with that for right now. Okay, because I'm starting to confuse myself. Okay, did you tell her about your memory? Yes, because I remember her telling Amanda that. What else did she tell you? And then I was confused again right here because, like, what else did she tell me? But she told her to memorize this card, unless we're off to a different subject and I've forgotten it. I feel like it's the card. We're going to keep going. What else did she tell you? Garrett asks. That is why you are here, to find out what I know, what she told me, not because you care, Sam retorts. Okay, here's my thought. We could use the conjunction here. When Sam says this to him, at the end, it kind of falls a little bit flat, because I kind of think we could, to build on her, she's got feelings when she says this, and I want your reader to feel Sam's anger a little bit sooner, kind of here. I kind of want her to be like, that's why you're here, to find out what I know, what she told me, and not because you care. And I kind of feel like the intonations of her voice you could use in a build here. You could use when she speaks, like, that's why I suggested the conjunction. We don't speak, I want to call it more formally, even though this is not formal, I'm thinking that might be my saying it that way would imply what I'm trying to say. When we're upset, we talk, that's why you're here, to find out what I know, what she told me, not because you care. And so when we write that, I almost want to put periods here or something. It's not because you care, to find out what I know, period. Or comma, what she told me, or even she could even say them in short, tight sentences. I kind of want to feel her frustration, her feelings, her sadness. What are all the feelings she feels when she's saying this? She's hurt, okay? And we can't say that from inside of her mind because we're in Garrett's point of view, but we can show it. And since Sam can't move, we can use her voice and her face. We could use her eyes, which are, so we can describe what Garrett is seeing here. So again, our reader feels the intensity of, we want to feel her emotions, and we want, this is an emotional scene. There's some stuff going on in here where you've got feelings to show. So I'm going to suggest a conjunction here to shorten that up and make it tight. That's why you're here. And I almost want to say another conjunction. I want to say another conjunction right here with your, just because of the way we speak when we're upset. Instead of, that is why you're here, to find out what I know, what she told me, not because you care, Sam retorts, versus, that's why you're here. See, you can get more tone with your words in the way that they're written in the sentence. So we're going to make this like she's got some feels. She's going to have some sassy little conjunctions in there. I almost want to put quotation marks here, and then have something of Sam's facial expression, or like her eyes belying her pain or flashing with anger, or the lines of her face, is she about to cry? Are there tears in her eyes? Is her cheeks they quiver a little bit, like the lines around your mouth quiver a little bit when you know what I'm saying? So think of what your face looks like. Even go look in the mirror and say it the way that you want it to be felt. And then look at how your face looks when you say those words. And then you can use that to describe what you saw in the sentence. So that's why you're here. And then I want to have some kind of thing. Garrett's seeing her face, seeing her feelings, and then we're going to have more quotation marks, and Sam's going to finish her thought. You just want to know what I know. You want to know what she told me. You're not here because you care. And you can make sentences to punctuate and have a build on her emotions. And then you can drop Sam retorting because you've shown it in here. And then in you have the feels that go with your sentence. Okay, we're going to keep going. Sam, that's not true, and you know it. Garrett returns, his tone firm. You also know I work with the FBI. There are going to be questions, especially with the outbreak surrounding this hospital. All of it starting when you came in on that chopper. I would suggest a period here and a capital there. Sam, that is not true, and you know it. Garrett returns, his tone firm. You also know I work with the FBI, period. There are going to be questions. Especially, I'm trying to wonder if that should be, it's probably fine. There are going to be questions, especially with the outbreak surrounding this hospital. All of it starting when you came in on that chopper. We both know how they will approach this, as they are an act of bioterrorism that was thwarted. Thus far, you have been shielded from those questions because of your condition. I don't need your protection, Sam states. I'm trying to imagine her face. She's angry with him right now, and I want to show that. Her words show it. And I kind of want to just I'm trying to think of a word that would describe her face being, I guess her tone does it too, though. I kind of contemplate a different word there. There's nothing wrong with the way it says, but I'm also trying to keep the intensity of the emotions, the tension. I guess I'm trying to reel in some tension in here. And by using her face and her voice and her intonations, we can build tension between the two characters because this is a very emotional scene. Maybe not you, Sam, but what about when you start speaking about her? Okay, the woman you came in with. I was contemplating whether or not, we don't want to say Amanda, right? But I'm contemplating when we need to say Amanda. I think we're okay right now. When I see her, my mind is thinking, okay, I'm thinking of Amanda right now. Okay, maybe not you, Sam, but what about when you start speaking about her, the woman you came in with? You know those questions are going to come, not just from the FBI or other agencies, but from ICID and the trust, to name the ones I'm most concerned about. How are you going to explain your injuries when there is no evidence of a plane crash? It is all to the contrary. The others present on the plane. Okay, wait. The others present on the plane. The others present on the plane. Wait. Okay, how are you going to explain your injuries when there's no evidence of a plane crash? There's no evidence of a plane crash? Wait. Where'd the plane go? Okay, there was an avalanche. The plane got tumbled down the hill. Sam wasn't in the plane crash. She was in the avalanche. But Garrett's making it sound like there's no plane at all. Was I just so distracted in chapter 3 that I failed to notice that? Where did it go? Or are we still supposed to wonder right now where it went? Maybe the reader's still supposed to be wondering where it went. Okay, hang on. It's all to the contrary. The others present on the plane. Is that a question? The others present on the plane. Or what about? I'm wondering if that's a question. Okay. Sam's eyes close. He waits, giving her time. Okay, that's the same. That's kind of the build right there that I wanted up there when she was putting her dad behind her. But we're going to go with it here because it's very nice. But it's kind of that same sensation where he's giving her pause. And obviously, I don't want you to say the same thing twice. I'm not making that recommendation, but it's the same feeling. So, okay. Sam's eyes close. He waits, giving her time. He listens to her breathing, picking up its staccato intakes, then shifting into slow inhales and hard huffs on the exhale as if punctuating a heated argument. Nice. All right. A mix, then a steady in and out. Okay. When he says staccato intakes, I'm getting that, like, I kind of picked up on that as a labored type breathing from a person who's been as badly destroyed as she has, and then her emotions mixed in with it is kind of the feel I'm getting, and it's kind of said here a mix. So if you intended that, it went nicely. Very good. Okay. Garrett smiles as she opens her eyes and continues. I like this too because I kind of think that he knows her long enough. He knows her well enough to know to give her time to come into herself. I'm gonna give you this little bit. When you give it to the reader, when you do these details, when you deliver them, you do a fantastic job of giving a very clear visual of setting a scene. So there's just these few places along the way, I guess, where you need to tuck it. And I'm hoping that my reading this tells you where to tuck them in, because it's so beautiful when you do it. This is really great. Okay. Garrett smiles as she opens her eyes and continues. And I'm kind of smiling too, because now that we kind of know Sam, I feel like Garrett knows that she's going to rise to the occasion. That's kind of the feeling I get when you write that. I do believe she was the one I was set to meet with, which is why I was coming here in the first place. I did not tell you or your dad I would be here. Why would I? Those parts of my life no longer intersect by design in our mutual promises. But you were aware I was heading this way, and the meeting was to take place at the symposium with her, and you announced it over an open line. My turn to ask, he snaps. I need to know how you knew that. Okay. Wait a minute. I got to unpack this paragraph. I do believe she was the one I was set to meet with. Okay, so Garrett was on his way to the same symposium that Amanda was going to? So he was actually on his way to meet her and her plane crashed? Am I getting that right? Okay. I do believe she was the one I was set to meet with, which is why I was coming here in the first place. I did not tell you or your dad I would be here. Why would I? Those parts of my life no longer intersect by design in our mutual promises. This sentence implies more. We know they have all this side spy stuff going on in their lives, and then I can't tell if Sam and her dad's search and rescue is a front, or if they really were search and rescue, and it could even if they were search and rescue, there's still spies on the side. I mean, we don't know enough about them at this point to know that, but it's I'm kind of toying with that possibility. And so Garrett's saying that his life no longer basically intersects with theirs. So I guess unless they were getting together socially, they really weren't around each other much. Like maybe their lives are kind of circling back around to each other. I'm not really sure. But you were aware I was heading this way. Okay, so then they do have to be interacting on the regular because Sam knew he was coming. Okay, pause for a second. Another thought. It says this way, but Sam doesn't know exactly where she's at, and Garrett does. And by him saying heading this way implies that they are somewhere back near where Sam started. I just want to point that out. I'm not really sure if that was your intention or not, but I'm not sure where they are. But wherever they are, this sentence implies that they're back close to where Sam started. I'm guessing. Not really sure. Okay. And the meeting was to take place at the symposium with her. That's the sentence that made me think, okay, so this is who Garrett was on his way to meet, was Amanda. And again, not every sentence and every time you mention her, but I do feel like you need to use her name sometimes. And you announced it over an open line. Okay, what did Sam say over the open line? She gave him a coded message over the open line. Okay. As a reader, I literally would flip back and go back and look to what Sam said. I would literally flip back the pages and refer to what Sam said at this point. Just like if I was reading a mystery, sometimes I'll flip back in the book to look where I think a clue came from, to read it again and put it together. I'm not going to do that here because then I'll lose my spot. And if I click the wrong thing, we could be in a big old mess. But as a reader, when I see that, I would literally be flipping back the pages to see what it was that Sam said to Garrett so I could remember exactly what she said. But anyway, I'm going to keep going. My turn to ask, he snaps. Very nice. So he's got some frustration too. I need to know how you knew that. She lets out a deep breath on a controlled exhale as her eyes level out and meet Garrett's. The softness of her gaze returns. I kind of want to say returns. I wouldn't know how to explain it if I even could. Did she even make it? Does her survival affect your answer? There's a long pause as Sam thinks carefully before speaking. Yeah, it does. Your answer if she's alive? It's one or the other, so tell me the truth or lie to me. I'll know either way. But the real answer is my choice. Sam, you know I'm one of the few who can lie to me and get away with it. Aware, but you won't. It's too risky on your part to lose my trust at a moment like this, and what knowledge of the incident I have. This is nice because you're letting me know that Sam can see through lies and that Garrett has the ability to lie to her. And I like that she's already telling him he won't because he has something to risk, something to lose. He relinquishes. I wouldn't call it survival. Her heart beats, and about a week ago she began breathing on her own. But no one's home upstairs? No. You have someone keeping her alive, studying her, Sam states. Yes. How many people know outside of the two of us? Sam asks. Just one, in a special place only I have knowledge of its location and means to access it. She holds in before speaking again. Testing that hypothesis about genetic memory in one like us. Statement, not a question. Interesting. Okay. Sam knows a lot. Yes, interesting time to admit your inclusion. Care to offer some personal expertise on that particular subject? Not at this time, she smiles, but I will, eventually. And what do you want in return for a guarantee on that? The list is long, so we'll get into it. We'll get to it. My goodness. So I got to know a lot about her in our short time together. Wait, we're with Sam, aren't we? Yeah, Sam, Garrett, Sam. Okay. All right. The list is long. We'll get to it. So I got to know a lot about her in our short time together. Amazing what you learn about someone as they're expiring. When I say a lot, I really mean a lot. Far too much information even for me, who absorbs it like a bottomless sponge. It's all scrambled, but I'll get it sorted out. I recognized her, yet couldn't place her. That's weird because that's usually instantaneous with me. Probably the beginning of my brain swelling. Take it easy, Sam, Garrett says in an attempt to avoid the shift he'd witnessed earlier. Yeah, it's pain. Feels good in that I haven't felt anything for weeks now, okay? I'm going to pause for a second. Why did I read that awkwardly? Let's just look at the sentence really quick. Yeah, it's pain. Feels good in that I haven't felt anything for weeks now, okay? Okay. Feels good since I haven't felt anything for weeks now, okay? Maybe since would let's just try it. Yeah, it's pain. Feels good since I haven't felt anything for weeks now, okay? Yeah, I'm going to keep rolling with that. It's just a suggestion. You don't have to do it, but I think it read better. It's just, anyway. Do you have any idea what it's like to be able to hear and sense everything going on around you, but not be able to interact? Be able to say, yeah, you suck at putting that needle where it goes. Oops, missed. Try again. Setting a bone. They don't think I can feel it. Yeah, I can. Just because my body didn't react doesn't mean the nerves weren't talking to each other and the gray matter wasn't storing it all. Really? So if you want your answers, deal with it, she snaps back. Wow. Okay, so that's, okay, two things. So that's giving the very clear impression that even when Sam is unconscious, she's actually conscious. But then at the same time, in the last chapter, I feel like Garrett had said something to the tune of, no, Amanda was brain dead, but Sam was in like a coma. But now I'm getting the impression that coma means something different when it's Sam. Okay, we're going to keep going. He nods as she doesn't wait for him to answer. She made the connection about who I was before I was able to put it together. I know, unusual. From there, it all just fell into place. I got that she was trust, not like admitting it or anything, but closer to the inner circle than we knew or thought was possible. And who's the only person I know who deals with the trust? That'd be my uncle, who's not really my uncle, and who bore a striking resemblance to the man she was describing as only the one who hunted her endlessly, but was the one who only the one who hunted her endlessly, but was the one she nearly begged me to find and relay some cryptic information to. What? Okay, we're totally going to break that down really quick. Oh my gosh, hang on. Okay. Okay, so Amanda is trust. We have to use her name in here. We got to. Okay. I think Amanda made the connection about who I was before I was able to put it together. I know, unusual. From there, it all just fell into place. I got that she was trust. Not like admitting it or anything, but closer to their inner circle than we knew or thought was possible. And who's the only person I know who deals with the trust? That'd be my uncle, who's not really my uncle, and who bore a striking resemblance to the man she was describing. I kind of want a comma there, because I messed it up when I read it. As not only the one who hunted her endlessly, but was the one she nearly begged me to find and relay cryptic information to. Okay, that sentence is really long, and I messed it up when I read it, so I don't know if you might look for a place to break it into two sentences. It's not bad. You could do that. You could also kind of like look at possibly rewording some things, maybe to let go of some words that might be extra. And it might clean up a little bit. Let's see. That'd be my uncle, who's not really my uncle, and who bore a striking resemblance to the man she was describing, as not only the one who hunted her endlessly, but was the one, I think, but as not only the one who hunted her endlessly, but the same one she nearly begged me to find and relay some cryptic information to. The same. Actually, I'm adding a word there. I'm not sure. Yes, I was adding a word. I am sure of that. I'm not sure what to do with it. I'm not sure if it's long. It doesn't read badly, but I did mess it up. That's the part I think I messed up. Sometimes I think if it's written the way we speak it, it tends to flow better when we read it. That does not make sense. If we say it out loud and we stammer over it, then sometimes if we mess with a word and we read it out loud, because we're speaking it, then we're able to find that if we mess with something, okay, it'll read better. That'd be my uncle, who's not really my uncle, and who bore a striking resemblance to the man she was describing as not only the one who hunted her. Maybe we don't need endlessly. Maybe we just need hunted her. I get that that implies exhaustion, like she's been chased all over the place by him. So I get that you want that. But also if we're hunting someone, we would be probably just continually going after them if we're hunting, like if that's what hunters do. So I don't know if we have to have the word endlessly. So it could be if it's a long word, a long sentence like this, and we're looking for a place to clean it up. Remember that when we take a word out, if we want it back, we can just put it back in there. So we can take words out and try it and see if it reads better, smoother, I guess. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't and you want the word back, you just tuck it back in there. So that's one I might contemplate taking out. Now let's see how it reads without it. Was describing as not only the one who hunted her, but was either the same one or also the guy she nearly begged me to find. Was the one I'm wanting to put the same man or the same guy or the very guy. So I kind of want a noun there. Who hunted her was the same guy she nearly begged me to find and relay cryptic information to. I would take the word some out, relay cryptic information to. I would play with this sentence in a couple of places, like endlessly and some. Look for extra words that you can take out, knowing what you might do when I'm playing with something that I'm worried about losing, like because it does read okay, but I think it could read better. Sometimes I will copy the sentence into like a note, like my notes. I'm on a Mac, so I'll open notes and I'll copy over there and paste it, and then I'll play with it there, taking words out, putting words back. And then once I'm happy with the finished thing, I'll paste it back into my story. That way I don't lose it the way it is. So you're not risking anything in taking words out and playing with something. All of that is entirely just a suggestion. Take it for what it's worth. She takes a breath and continues unabated. Oh, and in my jacket pocket, there was a bunch of broken pieces of this device. Threw it away like garbage, I'm guessing. Anyway, that is how I knew about the symposium. Your being in town, and why what I'm going to tell you next comes to you via my interpretation, because she was bound by some impossible barriers, and you know impossible isn't exactly a reference I use nor believe in. Okay, so she calls the broken card a device. So I'm thinking now that the card was the contagion, or it held codes for contagion, so when Amanda broke it, if the card was the contagion and when Amanda broke it, is that what exposed? I kind of thought that Sam had it in her blood biologically, like something she carried, the contagion, like something that was part of her, something the way she's just made, or the way she is, like it was part of her being. But now I'm kind of wondering if the card that was broken is I thought it was just a card and it carried a code. I'm a little bit confused, or I'm a little bit uncertain. Hopefully these impressions and thoughts are helpful and answer questions for you from a reader perspective. Okay, she takes a breath and continues on unabated. Oh, and in my jacket pocket there was a bunch of broken pieces of this device. Threw it away like garbage, I'm guessing. I would go ahead and say you, or I might even say I'm guessing you threw it away like garbage. I might even move this to the front there. Anyway, that is how I knew about the symposium. Your being in town, and why what I'm going to tell you next comes to you via my interpretation, because she was bound by some impossible barriers, and you know impossible isn't exactly a reference I use nor believe in. I really like that. I really like that, because it kind of lets you know Amanda's situation, and that's saying something coming from Sam. So very good job there. I understand, Sam. Garrett slides in. I might just take Sam out of there. We know it's just Garrett and Sam talking, and he's mentioned her by name a couple of times. When he's upset, it makes sense. I think at this point, for him saying I understand, I feel like he would just slide that in and we could just take that part out. That's just a suggestion. We don't want to. I think in a past video I talked about how we use a character's name in our writing when they're speaking more than what we would do if we were really talking to that person. This is just one of those things that I kind of feel like right here is a good spot where you could take that out. I understand. Garrett slides in. I don't think you do. I was supposed to find you and stop you from making an appearance. What? What? Okay, hang on. Already concluded I was a target and all eyes would be looking for my contact. Even I wasn't sure who that would be, but I had my assumptions. I took precautions, Sam. You did succeed in that I didn't go. I chose to stay here with you, he explained, smiling. Okay. Okay, when they talk, there's this cleverness between them that is two very intelligent people in the know on something that the reader's not in the know to. And sometimes it's elusive. Because like it's kind of a matter-of-fact way of speaking. Almost like they're trying to outdo each other in cleverness. Okay. Already concluded I was a target and all eyes would be looking for my contact. Okay. So right here, Sam is letting us know that she was supposed to find Garrett and stop him from making an appearance at the symposium. But she was in a plane for search and rescue. Or like I said, was that a cover? I'm so confused. Or there's so many options and possibilities. Okay. She was supposed to find him and stop him from making an appearance. I just don't... I'm kind of stumped there. Like, wait, when was this ever a thing? Because she was in an avalanche and she was all messed up and in the hospital. And then she had to call him. But she didn't plan to be in an avalanche. I guess it could have messed up her plan if she was supposed to do this. But she had woken up and got ready and went to work. She woke up and she was interacting with her dad. I am not sure if I am... I have not decided as a reader if I believe this. It is surprising, but I don't know if it is believable because there's a lot that I'm not, as a reader, I'm not privy to in this situation, and I understand why that is. And so I'm trying to figure out, am I supposed to know this? I don't think I knew this. So it's a surprise. But I'm trying to see when it was possible because of the situation Sam has been in since the beginning of the story. At no point, we only kind of figured out she was a spy, I feel like, in chapter 2. And there was supernatural things happening at the end of chapter 1. And so I'm going to note this, and I'm going to say that I'm not really sure how I feel about its believability at this moment because there's no internalization or any hint prior to this that she was on any kind of alternative mission unless I missed it, which is possible because I'm not just a reader reading the book for leisure and following all the connections. I'm a person looking for a whole lot more than that. So because my brain is thinking about all kinds of different things, I may not be remembering every single thing I've found along the way. I am taking note of this, and we're going to keep going. Already concluded I was a target. So if she was supposed to find him and stop him from making an appearance, who is Sam working for? And, okay, so Amanda was Trust. Okay. And she didn't admit it. He's working for ICID, I think. So she... Was she trying to, she's hiding from him. He's hunting her. And Sam is somehow supposed to stop Garrett from making an appearance. Now, is that something that maybe, she was, I feel like something happened when Amanda activated the crystal, but I don't know what it was that happened. And so I'm kind of wondering if she instilled Sam with memories or anything like that, or information. And so that could be the situation where this would work, is if Amanda revealed things to Sam through that interaction. I'm still not clear what happened there, so that's a possibility. I already concluded I was a target, and all eyes would be looking for my contact. Looking for Garrett's contact at the symposium? Even I wasn't sure who that would be. Okay, so Garrett was supposed to meet up with someone at the symposium, but he wasn't sure who. But he had assumptions, and he took precautions. You did succeed in that I didn't go, but not the way she would have planned, but we never knew Sam had any other plan. I chose to stay here with you, he explained, smiling. That's a lot to unpack. Okay. All right. She continues as if he hadn't said anything. It's not like you two sit down and have a chat. It's more a mutual understanding that something important has happened, and simply catching a glimpse of each other in a crowded room is enough to bring about an investigation from your inquisitive cohorts. Why was she there? Where did she come from? Who is she? And why was she pretending to be this or that person? Why was this and that important enough? So on and so forth. Round and round you go. Where it stops, nobody knows. She rambles, taking in a breath in preparation to continue. So Sam's asking lots of questions to herself. It's not like the two of them sit down and have a chat. It's more mutual understanding. Okay. Again, I think at least once we should use her name. Okay, we're going to keep going. Okay. I know how it works, Sam. I've been doing it for years. What did she want you to tell me specifically? He asks, trying to keep her on target. That your game had been figured out and to stop playing it, stop following and tracking her, stop thinking she was giving you information, simply stop. She wasn't your source, well, not this time anyway, but the visible pawn used in a vicious power play going on within the trust. So know how that feels, she states, referring to herself. Oh, let's see, hang on. I might say, I know how that feels. Yeah, I think I might say, I know how that feels, she states, referring to herself. And maybe she can't motion because she can't move. Okay, I know how that feels, she states, referring to herself. I don't think we have to, if I say, I know how that feels, she doesn't have to refer to herself because she is speaking of herself, she states. But when I read it, so know how that feels, it gave me pause because I thought the sentence was incomplete, I think. So I would suggest, I know how that feels, she states. Two competing forces, both of which are using you, and I see ID as a means to take the other down a notch. A typical, the enemy of my enemy is my friend scenario. Neither of which had your interests or hers at heart. She could not justify using you to help one or both of them anymore. That's why she crashed it, so they couldn't have it. You couldn't. Only us, me, us. If only I knew what it meant. Wait, what? Okay. That's why she crashed the plane? Okay. Okay, here's the thing. If Amanda crashed the plane, which I'm thinking that's what Sam is telling us, then go ahead and say that. You're still going to get the same punch surprise feeling from the reader, and you're not going to be as vague, which in some cases, because there is so many open threads in your story that are ongoing and so much to remember and keep track of, in some places it will pay to be very specific. This is one of them. That's why she crashed the plane. So they couldn't have it. Have what? The code on the card? Or if the card is a contagion, Maybe we need to say that. Okay, this is my suggestion. With the word it here and here, go ahead and be specific. Say what it is. You're giving a little bit of something away here, and it has a surprise. It's a surprise, or it's surprise information or a revelation, and you're still going to have that feeling. Even for as the reader, you're still going to get that same feeling, and you get to be specific, and it doesn't change the reader impact, except for clarity. And because there's so much to remember and follow, in some places we got to be very clear. So I'm going to suggest that you go ahead and name what it is so that it's very clear to your reader. I'm going to get the impression that's why she crashed the plane, so that they couldn't have the code, and you couldn't, only us, me, us, if only I knew what it meant. Okay, if only she knew what the code meant. Go ahead and say that too. Yeah. Go ahead and be specific with your its in this case. Good revelation. I'm now gathering that Amanda crashed this plane so that they wouldn't get a hold of this information. So that I guess Garrett specifically wouldn't get a hold of it. And she's saying only me, us. So it's her and Amanda. Us meaning her and Amanda is what I'm gathering there. Okay. I already came to that conclusion. Well, sorry for being the late messenger. This and many other... I think I'm allowed to say that, but I'm not sure. And I already messed up once, so I'm just not going to push my luck. We're just going to keep going. This and many other good reasons are why I keep my distance from you in all of this. But every second you're here, the board is wondering why. The board. Oh, she capitalized that. So the board is a group. Are they ICID? Okay, if the board is ICID's board, go ahead and just in this case say it. The ICID board is wondering why. Go ahead and say that. Otherwise, it kind of gives me an impression we're entering a new third party. Yes, maybe. Okay, just for clarity, for precision, we're going to go with it. This and many other blank good reasons are why I keep my distance from you and all of this. But every second you're here, the ICID board is wondering why. We both know you haven't told them about me, so shush. The more they wonder, the more they look. The more they look, the more attention they draw from other elements. Importance gets placed on what we're plotting, even though we're not doing anything other than discussing how badly I'm broken. They don't care. Operations are planned, caution and common sense are thrown out the window. Lives are threatened and innocents are put in danger. I'm in no condition to move or defend myself on my own accord, which makes you want to be here to protect me because Dad is gone, which puts me in further danger, not to mention what happens when the trust gets curious. Need I continue? Okay. Sam's sass is still there, which is nice. I'm glad to see that in her. A couple of these sentences are a little bit long, and the way I read them was if some periods were in there. Like Dad is gone, period. I kind of think maybe, I could be wrong again, but I kind of wanted to put periods in some of them, but instead I kept reading. My suggestion is when you read back through this one, if there's a comma, try seeing if the sentence can be read as a sentence and if the first word on the other side of the comma can be a word to begin a sentence, and if it makes sense as a separate sentence. I hope that makes sense. That's funny. Let's see. This and many other good reasons are why I keep my distance from you in all of this. But every second you're here, the board is wondering why. We both know you haven't told them about me, so shush. The more they wonder, the more they look. I almost wonder if that could be. And then the more they look, the more attention they draw from other elements. Importance gets placed on what we're plotting. I almost wonder if that could be. Even though we're not doing anything other than discussing how badly I'm broken, they don't care. Operations are planned. Caution and common sense are thrown out the window. Lives are threatened and innocents are put in danger. I'm in no condition to move or defend myself of my own accord. which makes you want to be here to protect me because Dad is gone, which puts me in further danger. Not to mention what happens when the trust gets curious. I almost wonder if this one could be. Now, in the same sense, I read this whole paragraph the first time and I read it okay. But as I was reading it, I was having questions about whether or not some things could be two sentences. So those are all just thoughts. You could totally disregard all of it if you wanted to and just leave it as it is. They were just ponderings, and I always say those out loud in case they're useful. Okay, so let's see. That's a lot, but I'm getting some Sam back in there. She gives a lot of information in the way that the way she does it is interesting because she has her sum it up. She kind of summarizes everything in the way that she has a tone, a very distinct tone. Okay. No, you can stop there. He laughs. Welcome back, Sam. See, and then Garrett literally just says everything I just said. That's fantastic. Okay. Glad to be here, she returns. So here's the deal. I've always wanted out. Never wanted to be involved in the first place. That's what she wanted once. But unlike me, she didn't have an out. That is what she was going to tell you in a nutshell. She wasn't a viable source. They were watching her and leading you like a horse with a carrot. Okay. This is all fantastic. Sam's explaining some things. She's revealing some stuff. My suggestion is, again, we got to use Amanda's name at least the first time she's mentioned. I mean, she's talking about her. Here and there, we got to sprinkle in her name. This is one of the spots I would tuck it and then keep rolling. It's going great. Sam. And again, here we have Garrett using Sam's name again and again. I think here I would omit this one and say, we both know there is no one with the trust no out. Oh my goodness. We both know there is no out with the trust other than, I wonder why, I kind of wonder if this is a style suggestion, and I feel very confident that it is, but I'm wondering, do we put a single, when it's a single quotation mark, is it still called a quotation mark? Is there another name for it that I'm just not thinking of right at this moment? When you use the single, I kind of want to put little italics maybe, right around, or put this in italics, something to put emphasis on this word, on the word out, because of the way that I'm going to read it the way he's speaking it. And then I'm going to tell you, I would put some kind of either style or parenthesis, not parentheses. Is it still a quotation mark? Why is that bothering my brain now? I want to move on from it. I don't want to get stuck. I don't want my brain to get stuck. Sam, we both know there is no out. I kind of see Garrett putting quotation marks around the word out. So I kind of want to put some kind of emphasis on that word in your sentence. There, I'm finally speaking what I'm trying to say. Sam, we both know there is no out with the trust other than, obviously, death. Yep, there you go. Sam confirms that. Okay. She knew that. Death, yeah, she knew that. In fact, she was rather upbeat about our situation, other than maybe the fact that I was completely useless to her. Other than I was completely useless to her. Okay. Sometimes when you're writing a sentence, you leave out some of the words that we would say when we speak them, and I do that too. Although I tend to do it at the beginning of my sentence, and I'm doing it in an effort to have my writing not be as repetitious as a lot of people traditionally do. Like, it's my own style, it's my own voice, and it's to make my writing as tight as I possibly can. Although sometimes I need to have those extra words in there, and I'm wondering if this is one of them. She was rather upbeat about our situation, other than the fact I was completely useless to her. So knowing that you've kept her alive throws a monkey wrench and puts me in a quandary. Throws a monkey wrench, usually into the situation, or those are yeah, I would say in the situation, and puts me in a quandary. Throws a monkey wrench into everything and puts me in a quandary. Something like that. I feel like that's an incomplete one as well. I I'm wondering if what your thought process is when you write that way. And I'm wondering that because I do the same thing, but I do it from the beginning. I'll try to pick another one of my pieces to read for an example and try to look for some of the things that I'm always pointing out in my own writing to share with you guys, that I do some of these things, and that's how I'm able to see them as I grow, I guess. I'm able to look back. And recently I realized that in some places where I'm trying to be tight in my writing, I'm omitting some things that I actually need to put in there, even though I don't want those extra words. Sometimes you just have to use them. And so I'm wondering if this sentence is one of those situations. But those are my thoughts there. I don't see it that way. There, he says her name again. So I would probably just, I would probably not, I'd probably omit that one. And I probably would give Garrett a facial expression or an action um, in this spot right here. I don't see it that way. And then Garrett does something. Oh, I do. But see, we don't have to agree to have mutual goals. Her physical brain may be toast, but her body alone can tell this story. And it's a story that should never get back to the trust because it now includes information about me and you. And yeah, it's just bad. Thus, keeping her body alive for study puts us all at major risk. She betrayed them in such a way that they won't give her death. It'd be never-ending torture, not just for her, but anyone she's ever cared about or even associated with. That now includes me and my associates. What? Wait, what? Now I'm wondering what the information is. What did she... Oh, I do, but see, we don't have to agree. Okay. Her physical brain may toast, her body can tell the story. I'm contemplating what... I'm wondering if Sam has not revealed to us what Amanda has given her, because we still don't know what happened when Amanda activated the crystal. They really didn't talk that terrible much before the avalanche. I mean, they talked a little, but it was a really intense situation. There was a lot happening, and Amanda was missing half of her face, okay? It was like ripped off. So the fact that she was talking and cognitive and alive at all was just like, oh my gosh, something is something is atypical about this woman, okay? So I'm still wondering what that was, and we're getting the impact of it, I guess, and we're getting the risk here. Okay, because she told you all of this, Garrett nods. Yeah, and you were already on the list. So option number 1, ensure she's dead. Completely, unequivocally gone. No more. Poof. But I don't think... No, I know. I could not have that on my conscience. So option number 2, now I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't know if I'd use an exclamation point there. I don't know. I don't think I would. Time in coma land, brain still working. So hear me out before you go all crazy on me with the no way in hell have you lost your mind rant, okay? Listening. Goes along with genetic memory. It's a viable theory, but not as exactly as you think it is. Not as exact. I think that one would be exact. Not as exact as you think it is. You sort of need to have the decoder ring to interpret it. That is my theory on top of yours. If, and it's a crazy notion, I know, I can decode it and get her brain defragmented and functioning again. Sam stifles a chuckle. A challenging miracle I think I'm up to. Just think about it. She'd be a viable source of information on the trust, alive and well, but dead to them, and couldn't help in avoiding me having her death on my conscience. Okay, lots of thoughts right here. Sam feels like she's up to it. And I think that that's really interesting right here. A challenging miracle I think I'm up to. This is really interesting that she believes she can do this because she can't move her body. She's completely vulnerable. And so I think it's really interesting that she's putting herself up to a task already. I mean, and her mind is absolutely working, and she's revealed to us that even in a coma, she was still thinking, even though we weren't with her. We don't know what her thoughts were, and we haven't been in her point of view, and we don't have internalization from her point of view to fill in all this stuff, which is all, I'm sure, to keep this suspense going. And we're still wondering what it is that Amanda gave to her. Goes along with genetic memory. What goes along with genetic memory? I'm wondering if it's her ability to be conscious in a coma, even though her body is under anesthesia. Bible theory. So sometimes when Sam rambles, her thoughts are incomplete, and I kind of feel like that might be intentional. And then whoever's talking to her, including our reader who's following along, is literally just trying to follow along and keep up with her. I feel like this is following the way that she thinks, and so it does leave me wanting, like her thoughts are kind of incomplete, and they don't really jump around too much, but they string. And so she kind of strings you along and you have to piece it together. But that kind of fits Sam's character, so I don't really want to change any of it if it's intentional. Let's see. That's my theory on top of yours. If, and it's a crazy notion, I know, I can decode it. Decode what is it? Because she also says interpret it. You sort of need to have the decoder ring to interpret it. But see, I'm wondering what it is. And I'm wondering if we need to be specific about what it is. But then again, Sam thinks her thoughts are literally almost incomplete. But then we have a third, just think about it. She'd be a viable source of information on the trust. I can't believe Sam was saying we need to kill her, but I guess it could, as Sam sat there and contemplated that, she changes her mind. She changes her mind back here as she toys with that idea. And I guess in her ramblings, she's kind of speaking her thoughts out loud. They come out incomplete, and then she goes over the possibilities and the options, and then she chooses one. And that's kind of what I just got out of this. So we're going to keep going. I pointed out the things I thought were possibilities, but my author is going to know what her goal was and whether or not I hit the marks, and if she needs to change something. I've definitely established that. We work well together that way. So I'm going to keep going. You're right. That's crazy, he chuckles. But is it? Do you have all the facts? Sam asks. This implies that Sam has some, and we know she does. I'm going to assume from the question that I do not. Right. You don't. Even I don't. But I have way more than you do. I also have, working to my advantage, that crazy ability to take a still picture and weave an entire factory from it. I don't need the entire library to construct one. Am I making sense? I've learned, Sam, okay, I've learned, I think that would be a comma, Sam, but I'm trying to decide if we should just take her name out so that we're not using it as much. I'll leave that to your discretion, obviously. So those are two thoughts right there. And I'm going to try to read it again. I've learned, Sam, when you're speaking in metaphors, similes, and such, you do it to protect information. He holds up his finger to halt her interruption. In this, you're protecting not only yourself, her, and the knowledge she carries that she hasn't been able to or can't express, but all the innocence that could suffer if it is not handled properly. He gives a raise of his eyebrow. We have no punctuation at the end of her sentence right there. He gives a raise of his eyebrow. I think rather than say that he gives it, I would just say his eyebrows rose. Expectant, or sometimes I say expectant. Sometimes I'll say it like that. I'm like, his eyebrows rose, comma, expectant. Yeah, maybe. I know I say a lot, but it's me contemplating different possibilities. His eyebrows rose, period. That's just an option. Points for the good summary. Only good? He questions with a chuckle. Continuing on, she smiles at him. I'm going to point this out. You can absolutely say that, but I am going to point this out. When I am doing my final run through on something that I'm hoping, like my final polish on a piece, one of the things I will search for is at him or at her. When I do that, I will go back and read the sentence, and then I will try to drop that from the sentence and see if it still makes sense. As I feel like I've read lots of different books with suggestions, especially when you're polishing up your manuscript. I feel like this one could possibly have, this is going to be so funny. I have a book called Writing for Dummies. And yes, it's one of those for dummies books. But in it, it tells you I feel like there's like a list. It's been a while since I've looked at it. Like I'm talking years. But it's one of the reference books I used when I was cleaning up a manuscript that I was going to query. And it gave me a bunch of different things to look for when you think you're at the final draft before you're ready to reveal it to the world, kind of thing, when you're thinking of something for publishing specifically. And I feel like one of the things it told you, this is one of those items. So this is very small. This is very minute. This is just a thought and information that when you see at him or at her, and I feel like there's another one, but I can't think of it at the moment, you can just try to read the sentence without it and see if it works. I'm just going to sample it here because, like I said, there's nothing wrong. It's just a note that I thought, a piece of information I thought to share when it came to my mind. And so I'm trying to do that. Continuing on, she smiles. You're already studying her, so why not let me do it? I'm not connected to ICID. So far safer with me than whatever fruitcake you have now. You wouldn't have to worry about that nasty mole poking at you all the time, or the trust. No one is watching me nor cares what I'm up to, except for when you're around. Oh, so much information in that little bitty paragraph. So we now know that Sam is not ICID and she's not trust. So is she not working for someone, or did she maybe used to work for them? I kind of thought Sam was a spy, but now I'm thinking either maybe she used to be a spy and she's not anymore, or she works for a different group. I'm not really sure yet, but these are the impressions I'm getting from this. I'm not connected to ICID, so it's safer with me than whatever fruitcake. I love her. You wouldn't have to worry about that nasty mole poking at you all the time. I almost wonder if there could be a comma there, as the trust is kind of an afterthought. And who's nasty mole? Okay, so who is it that's poking him if it's not the trust? Is it someone with ICID? No one is watching me nor cares what I'm up to except for when you're around. So much to marinate on. You get so much done in a little bit of space. Good job. Garrett rolls his eyes. You and your fruit references. I thought about that when she said fruitcake. You find it cute as well as accurate. You know I'm right. And I have insight that no one else does. Okay, the way I read that is as if there was a period here. Just kind of emphasizing the way that Sam speaks, I think, is why I read it that way. And there is discretion as to whether or not you can start a sentence with the word and. Obviously, you can leave it as one sentence. And I don't largely start sentences with the word and, but I do sometimes. You can leave this. It totally worked. I just kind of read it the way that I kind of envisioned Sam speaking it. True. See, and the way I kind of see her saying true is I kind of see a period there and then going on. Obviously, you don't have to do that. I'm just thinking of trying to read it the way I think that the way they're speaking to each other. It seems sharp. Anyway, these are all thoughts. True, but it then involves you in what you have been kicking and screaming to stay out of since you became aware of it, Garrett points out. Yeah, and look how well that's worked out for me. I surrender, okay? Can't beat them, can't get them to leave you alone. Play the game and play it to win. All right, I kind of think a couple things right here. Maybe a conjunction here. And can't beat them, can't get them to leave you alone. Might as well play the game and play it to win. I kind of want that right there. But then again, we go with the way that Sam thinks, and she does kind of leave things out. Okay, we're going to keep going. I would have to, no. And there I'd see a period and the start of another sentence. No, you don't have to clear it with the board. Ooh, okay. So we're referring to the board. The board is capitalized, so we're referring to them as a group. Okay, I'm definitely going to say, back when the first time you said board, if the board is the board for ICID, that first reference, I would say ICID board, and then this time you wouldn't have to because it's already been made clear in that first mention. If this is another party altogether, leave it as is in both places. No, you don't have to clear it with the board. You barely answer them as it is. And look, you're even hiding out from them now, which I'm sure has mommy and daddy worried about where you are and what kind of trouble you're getting into, she teases. I'd use a conjunction there. And I'm wondering who mommy and daddy are. And I'm also wondering, I think with all of our recent discussion about when to capitalize things, because mommy and daddy, how about this? If mommy and daddy are actual people that would be called mommy and daddy, they would be capitalized. Is that correct? And then if we're just saying mommy and daddy, to just say a mommy and daddy figure, and they're not two individual people that would be worried about him, and more implying that mommy and daddy are like the board as a whole, then this is fine. I hope all that makes sense. Sam, he warns to tone down the mockery. I know, they are a necessary evil. A long-winded topic of discussion for a later time because, wow, do I have new perspectives on that? So here are my demands, or would you prefer I call them requests? Either is fine, Sam, he encourages her with a warm smile. He just said her name, so I'm wondering if we should just say either is fine. But it also kind of works that way too. Because I kind of feel this is an affectionate kind of thing. I feel like he's amused by her because he captures her, he understands her personality. So when he says her name this way, it's almost endearing. And so I feel like it works both ways. But again, we don't want to use her name again and again and again too closely together. Discretion. It's up to your discretion. They're obviously all suggestions. It's all thoughts. Anyway, here we go. Okay, first, I will need access to the mighty, ginormous trust fund I helped you acquire for me. I know I said I would never touch it, tainted blood money and all, but circumstances change. Already done, and have Julian as your stand-in signatory given. Yeah, lack of movement and all. And no connection to you, yada yada. I've heard all that. I've got a few tweaks to that base, but I just want to make the official request. Thank you, Garrett nods. Next, have her moved here. Let her be my roomie. I'll help Julian build a background for her that I couldn't even shoot holes in. Sam, he starts to caution on the risks. Not risky. I'll need her close, and no one other than you, me, and the walls around us will know who she was. Okay? I have thought this out. I know who and what she is, Garrett. And even with that knowledge, I'm still willing to do this. She had every opportunity to eliminate me permanently up there. I was helpless. She didn't have to try to help me, but she did. And if she hadn't, I wouldn't be here now. For that alone, I owe her the same in return. I don't like it. You don't have to. You don't even have to admit she's alive other than to me. Look at that deniability. Pretend she's still out there. That's what the trust is most likely doing. And as far as they are concerned, what happened to us never took place. She didn't go MIA, and neither did the two with her. They are the ones covering up the evidence to protect their own shady assets. We're not going to say the other word. I suggest a conjunction right there. Let's see. In this case, I say let them. The one at the base of the death of the other two would be her if she said also. No vengeance story of destruction needed. Sam, do you know who they are? Their names? Garrett follows up. I kind of want to be like presses. I kind of want to say Garrett presses. For he's pressing her for more information. I'm not sure. Anyway, the pilot and the co-pilot, I almost want a question right there, question mark, and then capital, we don't. The other two, yes, I do. You know them both and have encountered them in your lifetime. If I can have your word that if I verify this piece of information, it ends there, you don't have to investigate further. You don't investigate further. Got it? You don't investigate further. You know them both and have encountered them in your lifetime. If I can have your word that if I verify that piece of information, it ends there. You don't investigate further. Tough call, Sam. It's a double-edged sword. I would omit Sam in this case and just say tough call. It's a double-edged sword. Yes, it is. A very sharp one. But on the bright side, we don't have the ability to unremember things. Garrett nods in understanding, but answers with, it's called forgetting. Tell me their names. I'll take my time with it and make my choice. I can at least take that worry off your list. Sam smiles. I was hoping you'd say that. Their names were Alistair Falson, her father, and Silas Hollister, her, I can't help it, POS husband. Garrett lets it sink in before responding. Wow, is all I've got. Oh my gosh, poor Amanda. Maybe if she liked them. I mean, if her husband was a jerk, I don't know, but I just realized, now we know who they were and that those people were important to her or important people in her life. Okay. Garrett lets it sink in before responding. Wow, is all I've got. Yeah. And make sure that hamster doesn't kneel over on that wheel, she cautions, sensing his thoughts in overdrive. So do we have a deal? You seem to know more about this than you should, and it's more than she told you, he reasons, but also probes for confirmation. My brain was pausing to contemplate our punctuation questions, but we're going to keep going. You would be right about that. For example, I know that if she is the one who shot the pilot and co-pilot, what? You would be right about that. For example, I know that she is the one who shot the pilot and co-pilot. I would probably put a conjunction there. Now, I'm going to say, as I'm pointing out these conjunctions to you, if it's the way that you prefer, if that's your voice and it's the way you prefer to write, I think that it's okay. We could look into it as to whether or not there's a technical correctness. Some people insist that you use them every time that you can. And throughout your writing, I have not done that because I kind of feel like a person has their own writing style and their own voice. And if it's not a rule, then that's a space that you can write the way you want. Or if it's appropriate to the way the character speaks, then it's okay. And the other situation is that one that I mentioned way back in the beginning, and the very first time I told you to use a conjunction, when the situation was emotionally charged and they were speaking, you were trying to build urgency. You were actually trying to build something into the emotion of your scene. And so it was appropriate to use it for the way they were speaking to each other at that moment. I know that's a lot to kind of process, a lot of information for a lot of different situations. And that's why it's, I'm sharing it so that you can use that information to your advantage. So take it for what you want. I'm going to point them out in kind of places where I kind of either read it as if it was a conjunction. But again, I respect your voice. And if that's how you want it to be, and if it's not a rule, then you leave it the way you want it. I kind of do read them the way you have them in, I think, the emotional situations where they fit. If we're more relaxed, we may speak more formally given a setting. And in certain situations when we're tense or we're rushed, we might speak tighter. That's kind of how I tend to use them. There may be a hard and fast rule on it, but that's generally the rule I have followed. I have had beta readers insist that I use a conjunction every single time. But again, if it's just choice, then do what fits. Okay, if you don't have another reason, if that makes sense. You'd be right about that. For example, I know that she's the one who shot the pilot and the co-pilot. I'm just like, wait, so Amanda, wait. So were the other two people, how many people were in the plane with her? I thought there was there 5 other people on the plane with her? I'm trying to figure out right now if the pilot and the co-pilot was her husband and her dad. But I feel like there was, I can't remember how many people were in the plane. This is another situation as a reader. If I was reading a book, I'd be flipping back to determine and to remember exactly how many people were in the plane, and just to verify for myself that the pilot and co-pilot were not her father and her husband, because that means she's the one that killed them. I kind of thought when Sam first revealed that her father and her husband were in the plane that they were just killed in the crash, but then she crashed the plane because she shot the pilot and the co-pilot. So she killed her husband and her dad. What? Okay. Filing that information, storing that now. Okay. Oh my goodness. Processing. I also know she was the one who brought the plane down on purpose. Do you get the gravity of that? I'm getting it, Sam. I'm totally getting it. Suicide in the name of not letting those have it. Have it. Okay, have the code. Oh my gosh. All of this was for the code that she hid on Sam? What? Am I right? Am I right? Not sure. Not sure. She did the unthinkable to keep either one of them from succeeding. Another reason I hold some respect for her. She was also the one who removed the mechanism that allowed the plane to hide its true location. Thus, the rescuers were able to find us. What? Okay. About that, I would leave off the Sam there and just say about that. Dispatch was way off. Dad and I had it all figured out, the old-fashioned but more reliable than GPS way. But I told you where to look. You got that it was code, right? Yeah, but even then, no sign of it. It's gone. One of two ways that happened. The trust beat you up there and contained their rings, because otherwise plague and pestilence would be laying siege up there. Side note, a touch of respect for the burden of responsibility certain ones who wear those rings carry. Oh my goodness. Okay. So now I'm getting the impression that the contagion was on the plane and it wasn't the card. Is there more than one contagion? Okay, is there more than one contagion? Was there a contagion on the plane and the card held a code to activate it? At one point, Sam herself is a contagion. I'm a little bit confused and I'm not entirely sure. Okay. My questions are going to help my author, so I'm just going to say them, and I've already said them, and I'm going to keep on going. I'm a little bit confused. Okay, just a little bit. Let me find my spot. I lost my spot because I literally was closing my eyes trying to figure this out. Okay. All right. So Sam, okay, so Amanda removed a mechanism, allowed the plane to hide it, that had the plane cloaked, I guess. It was giving off a wrong signal, and I remember that happening, but I don't remember Amanda being the one who removed it. But I did wonder how the rescuers found them. So that makes sense. That answers that. The rest of the rescuers were able to find us. About that, dispatch was way off. Dad and I figured it out. Yep, got that. Okay. But even then, and it was her intuition is how they found it. No sign of it. Okay. This is what I think right here. You need to say what it is. No sign of blank. It's gone. One of two ways that happened. The trust beat you up there and contained their rings, because otherwise plague and pestilence would be laying siege up there. Side note, a touch of respect for the burden of responsibility certain ones who wear those rings carry. Are we talking about literal rings? Were these people wearing? Okay, so if these people were trust, were they wearing rings like, people in a group do, like a sorority type thing? That's what I'm gathering from this. Okay. Sam, she breaks out of her intended path of thought. Yeah, what? You're dropping breadcrumbs to topics I think you want to keep between, I'm just going to say it, the two of you. Yeah, I know. It's purposeful. Appreciate you recognizing it. It is one very small step in a lot of negotiations. That is as far as I can go on that part right now. The second of the two ways it could go, I can't give a lot of details, but she has them, and it feels good. A confidence that they are contained somehow. And in that scenario, my dad is alive. Still working that one out because I want to believe it, but it could be a trick to gain my trust again. I kind of am getting the impression that like Sam is having an internal conversation with Amanda. It's like, because he's saying to keep it between the two of you, to keep between her and Amanda. Yeah, I know it's purposeful. Appreciate you recognizing it. It's like she's saying it out loud for Amanda, but Amanda's not even in the room with them. But it's almost like that. That's kind of a feel I've got. I don't know. We're gonna keep going. I see, Garrett says. You have a deal. Okay. I would take out Sam there. You have a deal. Period. And I know her by many names, but I don't want to offend by addressing the wrong one. A deal there as well. Appreciated. We'll just say it's a really touchy subject. So her name is a touchy subject? Is that why you're not using her name throughout the story? But at some point we need to be clear about who we're talking to the reader at the same time. You'll have to mull that one over. And then here he's saying her name again. For you, that second option, I'll tip the scales toward her side there and suggest some trust and blind belief in it. I'd like that to be the outcome as well. Okay, so he continues to refer to her as her and not use her name. If her name is a touchy subject, maybe Garrett just needs to ask which name he's supposed to use so that you can use it. Maybe. That's a thought. It's just a thought. We're going to keep going. Sam closes her eye for a few moments. Her face scrunches into a confused look as she speaks. I don't know what exactly this might mean between you two, and my translation and interpretation probably sucks, but it's not as if she were running through the forest in an evening gown. I'd shrug if I could. Garrett erupts into laughter. Perfect with a Sam spin. The moniker was not my idea. He continues to chuckle. I'm confused. What? Okay, I don't... Okay, we're still talking about her name. It's a touchy subject. A second option. So he's saying, what am I supposed to use? Tip the scales towards her side and suggest some trust and blind belief in it. I'd like that to be the outcome as well. So he's asking for mutual trust. Sam closes her eyes for a few moments. Her face scrunches into a confused look as she speaks. So she's talking to Amanda is what it seems like here, is like she's... Because Sam's intuitive, and it's almost like she's talking to Amanda in this moment. Like a psychic connection or something. It's like a little voice in her conscience or something like that. That's kind of what I'm kind of getting, but I don't know how many readers are gonna... I don't know. Okay, I don't know. She closes her eyes for a few moments. Her face scrunches into a confused look as she speaks. I don't know what exactly this might mean between you two. Okay, so like between Garrett and between Garrett and Amanda. I don't know what exactly this might mean between you two being Garrett and Amanda. I'm guessing, and my translation interpretation probably suck, but it's not as if she were running through the forest in an evening gown. I'd shrug if I could. So it's like Sam doesn't get it either. And it's almost like Sam is speaking for Amanda, like relaying information to Garrett. Okay, I'm able to piece that together myself. If that's what you mean to happen. If that's the but I don't know if... I guess I'm trying to figure out if everybody's going to get that, like anybody else that picks the book up and reads it, and if that's really what you intend to happen. You know what? I'm going to roll with it and trust my author. They're going to know by my reactions if they've hit the marks they wanted, if I'm getting the impression they wanted me to get. And I'm also going to know that it's going to become clearer and clearer if that is indeed what is happening here. But I'm wondering if Garrett realizes it, or is this the moment where he realizes that Sam has kind of got Amanda's little voice in her head. And I'm sorry if I was supposed to realize it sooner and I didn't, because that's what it seems like is happening here. Okay, if that is indeed what is happening here, I feel like Garrett would have a reaction. And the fact that he doesn't, this is like him knowing that it's a possibility at all. It's like he already would know that, and then he would, that's why he doesn't even have a reaction, like it's second nature. Otherwise he should be shocked, and I feel like he would question it, like the way I'm questioning it, if that makes any sense. Garrett erupts into laughter, perfect, with a Sam spin. The moniker was not my idea. That implies that he knows. Okay, if she really is talking to Amanda, this implies that he knows that. And so it doesn't surprise him, which makes me want to look back at this whole entire chapter from a different perspective. If that makes sense. Like in the entire time that they're having a conversation, if this theory is correct and he is not surprised, it's as if he already expects. And if my impression is correct, then it makes me want to rethink this entire conversation. Okay, as your reader, if I was reading the book right now, I would literally go back to the top of this page and reread it keeping this in mind. Just letting you know that. He continues to chuckle, and I can kind of see this man laughing. I really can. Either one of you going to fill me in? It feels like a good story, Sam says. Yeah, see, it's like she's the third person that has just entered the conversation. And has she been there the whole entire time? Because now I'm rethinking everything. Wow. Oh my gosh. So much to process with that. I'm not really surprised if this is what I'm thinking it is. I hope that it becomes even clearer. I mean, I don't see that it could be any other option. I'll let her have, I'm going to keep reading. I'm just going to keep reading. Oh my goodness. Okay. Garrett erupts into laughter, perfect with the Sam spin. The moniker was not my idea. He continues to chuckle. Either one of you going to fill me in? It feels like a good story, Sam says. I'll let her have that one, Sam. She'll probably tell it better. I'd probably put a period right there and start a new sentence. She'll probably tell it better, and it can be a nice icebreaker between the two of you. He stands up. It will take a few days for me to make the appropriate arrangements to get her moved here. I'd recommend you read Marcus in, at least minimally, just to put this old man's mind at ease, and I can step back to an appropriate safe distance for the two of you. Will do. Thank you from both of us. Garrett leans down and places a kiss on her forehead. I know I don't need to say it to either of you, but be careful. So now it's like Sam is two people. She's now got Amanda inside her head. I kind of thought Amanda was inside the crystal, but it seems like now she's literally inside of Sam. And now I want to go back and reread the entire chapter, keeping that in mind. And I'm not sure what that means from a professional writing of this piece. I'm not really sure if, I have, you know what? I feel like I have read mysteries and gone back and reread things in mysteries in places as I piece things together. So why would it not be acceptable as things are revealed here to go back and reference? I feel like that's good, actually, that, you get so engrossed and caught up and you're trying to piece something together and that you want to go back and look at it again to make sure you're following along correctly. A lot of times when I write with the intention of not withdrawing my reader from the story. But the way that this story is kind of the same way a mystery is. And in a mystery, the whole entire time that you're reading it, you're trying to answer questions and figure out a puzzle. And so this story is written kind of in that same vein. So I kind of think, I kind of, I kind of think, keep it. I kind of think, keep it. I like it. I like the fact that now I need to go back and reread this entire chapter from a different, with a piece of information, a revelation in my mind, because now it would read differently and it would mean different things, and some of the other stuff would make sense. And did I miss it? Did Garrett become surprised at some point in this and suddenly realize there was two people in Sam's head? And um, what was his reaction? And here we are, we're scrolling back because I'm just kind of looking. There's a lot here, and I don't want to ramble on and on and on, but there's like a moment where Sam starts referring to kind of both of us as like, as because now they're like the two are like one. But I did not feel a moment where Garrett was confused and asked for clarity. And I don't feel a moment or recall a moment when Garrett was shocked either. So I'm wondering, with some elusive internalization on his part, but I understand you're also not trying to give it away till the very end there. So I don't know. I don't know. Okay, you know what I do know? I know I enjoyed it, and I know I had to piece together a whole lot of things, and I know there's this big, beautiful little unraveling right here and revelation. I think what my question is now, I feel like, yes, Amanda and Sam are sharing a brain right now, or a body, brain and body. Well, Sam's body still doesn't work. That's an issue, and I'm wondering what's going to happen when Amanda's body is placed in the same room as Sam. And it's interesting that Sam kind of was like, kill her off. And maybe she felt like, and was it Amanda saying that? You know, how much of what just went on in here was kind of Amanda speaking through Sam? That's why I kind of want to reread the whole thing with a different perspective now. And I'm also wondering why Garrett, if Garrett was surprised and I missed it, or why Garrett wasn't surprised. So those are two thoughts out there. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. So that note down at the bottom says chapter 5 is coming and that you're working on it. Is it published? Is it there? Yeah, it's there. There's more. Okay. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'd keep going. I, I don't know if I said to you guys that, like, Crystal Committee said to me that she had not had a beta reader make it beyond chapter 5. I'm going to tell you now, I'd keep going. If you wanted me to, I would keep reading for you, because I'm still wanting answers to my to the new questions, and there's still more to learn about who the trust is and who ICID is. I don't necessarily know which one of those two groups is the protagonist and the antagonist. We don't know enough about them to make that decision. So I'm curious, and I would keep going, and I have all those questions I already said to you, and I'm very tempted to go back and reread this with my little piece of information in mind. And I almost wonder, I'm glad you got the impression, me reading it without knowing that, so that you could, there's probably lots of information that came through to you that way. I'm also wondering if I missed it. Like, if Garrett wasn't surprised, why wasn't he surprised? And was he surprised and I missed it? And at what point did Garrett realize it? Or did he know it the entire time? So I have all those questions. You can message me and we'll talk. Okay. All right. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me for another episode of When Mystery Red Reads. And I want to thank Crystal Committee for trusting me with her words. And I look forward to seeing you guys on my next episode.